going on?
Not too much. Just fucking getting screens ready for the week.
Is that super fun?
Oh, it's the worst. I did how many reclaimed today? Like 20, I think. I got to do it like every day now. It's the worst. So.
And you're just like printing films and taping them up and.
Oh yeah. So I'll go prep them, degrease them, toss them in the fucking drying cabinet, run, print films. By the time those are done, then I can go and coat the screens, go back, print more films, and come back, expose them. It's just like nonstop, man. Fuck, I hate it.
Yeah. Brian and Bill, my two guys that do that, are kind of like working from home right now. And I've been doing that for the past couple of weeks. It's been, well, mine's not as much as yours anymore. All I do is hit print on the computer and it prints it directly on the screen. And then I toss it in the exposure unit and I'm done.
Fucking bastard. I want that set up so bad.
Dude, it's so nice.
Yeah, you don't have to vacuum either on your exposure with that thing. So you just toss it in, hit the button.
Put it in, hit the button. We use Diazo, so it takes a little longer. So we run for like 30 seconds instead of, we could probably do it in under 10. I think it was like 4 seconds or something.
Yeah, I go back and forth between like a Diazo and a photopolymer like all the time. I can't make my mind up. Some stuff I need the dual tier stuff for, just with that exposure unit. You get like light wrap and stuff going on. So.
No, we like it because we get better halftone detail and the screens are stronger, and we mix between plastisol and water base so often that it'd be a pain in the ass to like coat specifically for water base and coat specifically for plastisol. So we just use it on everything. Realistically, the only thing it changes for us is it's a little bit harder to wash out after the dip. It's like an extra 30 seconds on the exposure, which 30 seconds is like, who gives a shit? So
I need a big baller setup like that one of these days.
Yeah. Well, I just recently got it 2 years ago, so
yeah, I'll get there.
I held off for a long time because I was like, I don't know. I don't want to buy a computer because anything is computerized, because I'm scared of how fast it gets outpaced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
The next year they come out with something else. The next year they come out with something else. So, but as soon as I got it, I was like, fuck, I should have done this like 6 years ago.
Yeah, no kidding. One of these days, once I get a new spot here, slowly start upgrading things.
Yeah. So what else? How's quarantine life there?
Well, that's nothing new for me. I keep to myself and don't leave anyways, so really no difference for me whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm still going to work like normal, so it's not really anything different. And I live in the sticks, so I don't really have to fear people too much. But
like some of the delivery guys dropping shit off here have been like, I'll like go to grab it from them. They're like, no. I'm just like, oh, calm down there. The guy's all gloved up to his elbows and shit. Like, calm down, man.
Yeah, I get it, but I've always wanted to answer the door like completely naked.
Oh yeah,
just this big fucking burly man standing at the door being like, hey, come in.
It wouldn't be the first time my neighbors will see my junk if I did that. I used to have this like this window in the front of my house, like a big like barn shaped window kind of deal. So like the blinds only covered like the bottom square half, and then the top half was the triangle thing, right? And it's like a big like human sized like 8-foot window or whatever. So like the bottom half from like your neck down was covered. So like so many times I'd like walk out in the morning just ass naked, and I could just look out the window and stuff, and no one knew anything was going on there. And then a few times I've done it and the blinds were open. I didn't even realize it. And some lady one day was like jogging, and she just like stopped in her tracks. She was just staring at me, and I'm like, I wave at her and stuff, and she just sit there looking at me, this look on her face, like, what are you looking at? And I look, oh.
She stops and she's like, and then it just keeps going.
Pretty much, yeah. Is that a baby carrot? Oh man. Yeah. So since then, I have actual curtains.
Long story short, I have curtains now.
Yeah. Oh man.
So tell me a little bit about your life, I guess, before all this printing shit.
Yeah, like I wasn't in high school for very long, to be honest.
Oh, you got that sweet short version?
Yeah, I got that real short version. I was only there for a year. So yeah, like I rode for a living for a long time before screen printing. I turned pro when I was 15 years old. So by the time I was like in like 10th grade, I was starting to like really tour and go to different places around the world and stuff like that. So
what were you riding, and like what were you doing?
I was riding snowmobiles was like the main deal.
Oh, really?
I was doing, yeah, freestyle snowmobiling was like right when that sport started. I was one of the first 20 guys to like really like kind of start that sport up, I guess you could say. It was the first like pro tour, the first time sponsors were coming at it, like the whole deal. It was really the birth of the whole thing. So yeah, I got lucky somehow. I sent in some like photos and shitty videos to the guy that was starting it up, and he's like, "Yeah, come on out." So I was like, "Oh, right on." So that was cool. So I like showed up there, the first one with no sponsors, no gear. I borrowed gear from somebody, and just like the worst shit ever. And just like showed up there, and it's like all my idols that I used to watch were just all in the locker room with me and stuff. And I'm like, I'm walking around getting all their autographs and stuff, and I got to ride against these guys later on. And so yeah, went out there and like I just Hail Married it. I hadn't even like really ridden indoors at like an arena before, and short distances, big ramps, like the whole deal. And I just went out there and like just crashed my face off all over the place. And I don't know, I guess like I made an impression somehow, because I went to the next show after that, did a little better. And then by the third show, like I was head to toe sponsored out and
That's awesome.
touring around the world and stuff. So after that, school wasn't really a priority for me.
Yeah, fuck it at that point.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm onto this.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, I did that for, I don't know, like 12 years, something like that. And I was riding freestyle motocross professionally as well. So I was kind of year round doing the whole deal. Towards the end of that career, I was like looking for something else. I was getting bored. So I started doing the stunt bike thing, did that for a while. And then, I guess I started screen printing.
With the stunt bike stuff, how does that like, is that like a paying thing, or is that kind of just like you do show to show?
Yeah, like I had a couple like paying sponsors and stuff, but it was mostly a show to show kind of thing. It was kind of like something for me to fill the gaps, like, because after you do something for so long, like even if like a job like riding a dirt bike and a snowmobile for a living, it's fucking awesome. But after a while, it still becomes a job, and it just starts getting a little tiring, a little sickening. It's like you want to find something else. So I started filling the gaps with the stunt bike thing, because I saw it and I was like, well, that doesn't look that hard. I could probably figure that out.
Super slap in the face.
Yeah. So I went out there and I started doing it, and like, yeah, it's awesome. It's super fun. I did it for a long, long time. And yeah, it's harder than it looks, I'll say that. At first I was all cocky, because I was like, oh, I can wheelie a dirt bike and drag the fender all day, so I'll figure this out right away. Well, that was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit heavier bike too.
Yeah. And just that sport in general, I guess it doesn't have as much recognition as the other two, and doesn't have as much like sponsor money and that kind of stuff going on. So it's more like a fun thing for most of the people involved, even though there are some guys making a living at it. It's a very small amount. So
yeah. And then in the midst of that, you decided to start 38?
No, I was at the kind of the end of that, like far past the end of that. By the end of it, I retired. I got a normal ass job. I was a cable guy for a little while.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, man. We got lots of stories about that job. We could be here for a while.
Well, I got all night.
But yeah, I did that for a while, and I was like, fuck, this sucks. Like, because I'd never worked a real job before. Really, like I had a couple real jobs in the meantime, but like one was at a motorcycle shop where I really didn't do anything. I just hung out there all day and talked about riding, so that really wasn't anything. And I worked in a welding shop before that, and that was kind of the same deal. I just kind of dicked around on the night shift and smoked weed and made fun stuff. And that was so like before that, I never really had a real job, and cable guy was just the worst thing in the world. So like after that, I just like, I can't do this, man. So for a while I was kind of doing like motorcycle stuff, because I'm a certified motorcycle mechanic. So I was working on bikes and stuff on the side, and which is really fun, but there's really not a market for it here, because we only get to ride 6 months a year.
Well, yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, so like it's a really tough market, and like the stuff that I wanted to be doing was like custom bikes and cool stuff, which is really even more of a niche thing, obviously. So after that, I was like, well, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do now. So I just figured like, I don't know, I can ride pretty good. I got a camera. Let's make a YouTube video or something and see what that does. And that did something. So I kind of started going down that path and did it for a few years.
You just started pushing like YouTube stuff, trying to post consistently. And
yeah, that was really the start of the whole Harley wheelies, Harley stunt thing. So I was like kind of one of the first few people in that. So that kind of really helped me out. There was only probably like, I don't know, 5 to 10 guys at the time who were any good at it. Now there's like a ton of people doing it. It's nuts. But back then it was still very new. So it was really kind of easy to get seen doing it. And I did that for a while and built up the YouTube thing. And then 38 started after that pretty shortly.
Mm-hmm.
About like 3 years it took to do that.
How did you get into doing 38? Like, did you know like Photoshop or Illustrator or anything, or were you just like, fuck it, I want to do a clothing line, and kind of went the hard way?
Yeah, basically. I had no experience whatsoever doing it, and at the time, like the Harley thing was starting to pick up, and like sponsors are starting to get involved, and that whole deal was like really starting to become something. And one sponsor I had at the time, like I had really like pumped them out big time, like really big time. And they did some shady shit, and they were a clothing company or whatever. So they did some shady shit, and I was just like, I'm out of here. You guys are the worst. And so after that, I was just like looking around and like, okay, now I've got an opening in my spot. And a bunch of other people were like, okay, we'll take that spot and we'll help you out and do this, whatever. And just nothing really panned out. It was a lot of talk from a lot of people, it seemed.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I'll start my own then. How's that sound? So yeah, I started my own clothing company just like on a whim, randomly, and had no experience in it whatsoever. And that led me to where we're at now.
Yeah. What, I know you've said this before. What were some of the shit that like other printers were doing that kind of made you be like, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself?
Oh, dude, like now that I'm like have a bit of experience, the stuff that I used to get, I just look at and cringe. Like there was the biggest thing, like at first I didn't notice the bad print quality for the most part. So it was mainly like dudes being really late with stuff a lot of the time. Like the first dude was just the worst for that.
Not good communication and all that.
No, terrible communication, like dodging me for weeks at a time, and just like being literally like 3-4 weeks past the due date of everything I gave him. So that was just not good, because this is how I pay my bills, obviously.
Yeah.
So that sucked. Moved along to other printers and stuff, and they were better at that part of it, but the print quality was just really bad, like just insane fibrillation, under curing, dye migration, like all the day one problems basically are going on in this stuff. And like at the time I didn't really know. I just looked at it and I was like, this doesn't look that great, but I guess I can sell it or something. And now that I know what I was getting, it's just like, man, like how was anybody letting this out the door?
Yeah. Were they like somewhat local shops to you, or did you like find them online?
Didn't really have any good experiences with any of the local shops here. And that was really what fired me up, because same deal as 38, someone pisses me off enough, it's motivation for me to like, I'll do it. I'll do it myself.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's what ends up happening with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so.
And then you were just like, fuck it, I'm going to go buy an entire shop's worth of stuff.
Yep.
It seems like that's what you did. You didn't like start slow. You were just like, no. I'm going to buy an entire fucking manual shop.
Yeah, that was exactly it. I was just sitting there thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, like clearly I'm not the only one having this problem, because there's really not a lot of print shops in this area to begin with. There are a couple who are really good, but the ones who are really good are like, they're booked up for like 6-7 weeks at a time. The ones that you can get in are just like, they're putting out very mediocre stuff a lot of times. So it's just like, dude, I could probably, cut into this market a little bit. So rather than just start out small, like let's do this thing. Let's dive in head first. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. I just sat there and like I grinded and got the money together.
You wrote Ryan a fat check and just bought everything.
Yep. It's like, what do I looked at the packages like that, because they have those the startup packages on there, right? So I looked at those. It's like, hey, this one's the closest to what I think I need. Let's switch out this, and this, and make it a little more customized to my setup. And here you go. Here's the cash. Send this shit over.
But you ended up getting like an 8 color.
Yeah, I've got an 8 color 6 station.
Yeah, so that's not a fucking little press.
No, it's not. It's a beast. Like when all this stuff showed up, you're like, I just did it because I was just like, I'll pissed off and vindicated, like, like I'm gonna do this. So I got all this stuff, and then I showed up here. I was just like overwhelmed, like, oh, dude, what did I get myself into?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, a lot of people don't end up doing that. They end up buying, like, they could have gone the same route as you, but they might have been like, oh, I'll get a 4-color press, or they'd be lucky to get a 6-color press. But that's kind of one of the things that a lot of printers look back on, is they're like, one of the things I wish I did is I wish I bought like the biggest press I could fit in my space.
Yep.
Because you end up screwing yourself all the time, where you're like limited on colors and you're limited on all these things. But it's kind of funny that you went right in and got that
was one thing that I actually like was smart enough to kind of pre-think out, because right at the time I was doing it, I just put out a 38 design that was 7 colors. So I like looked at it, I was like, well, if I'm going to be able to make this shirt, I need at least an 8-color press.
Yeah, well, you got lucky.
Yeah, so it's like I actually like looked up some stuff. It's like, hey, I need an underbase, I need 7 colors. So, well, 8-color it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. What did you do to like learn how to print? I guess a shitload of YouTube.
Yeah, like I watched, because I got the idea in my head that I was going to print for probably like a year before I did it. It took a long time, clearly, to put that money together.
Yeah.
So I just I watched like the Ryonet channel. I watched those videos front to back for a year, pretty much, and just like learned every bit of it that I could. And then I looked around on the internet, read up some like website stuff, and just kind of like took in as much information as I could while I was waiting for this stuff to show up. And then once it showed up, it was just like, okay, game on. This is all I'm doing every single day until I figure this out.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the book learning in the world does not prepare you for the real thing. That's for sure.
No, it doesn't.
Because like you can go back in those first videos when I like did my first prints, and like at the start, I'm like, yeah, I sat here, I learned as much as I could. I'm gonna figure this out right now, real quick. And like, dude, as soon as I got into it, it was just like the wrong show.
The hard part is too, I feel like, especially with manual printing, is it's definitely there's stuff you can do by the book for sure. That's like, okay, this is roughly what you do. But I feel like a lot of it is in like an art form, as far as like squeegee pressure, angles, different inks. There's just so many variables. Like if you could go out and buy like 2 different emulsions and like 2 different ink types, it'd be more by the book. But the fact that you can buy like fucking one of 1,000 different kinds of inks, one of 1,000 different squeegees, handles, and the press, and now there's like 20 different kinds of mesh. I feel like you just need to test shit out all the time. Like even me doing it for over 10 years now, I feel like we're still just trying shit out all the time.
Oh, yeah,
you can't just buy one thing and be like, this is what I'm gonna do forever.
Yeah. I'm still just scratching the surface over here, pretty much. Like it's crazy. Like there's so much finesse to it, especially I guess on a manual, with like you said, squeegee pressure and angle and all that. Like my first prints were just atrocious, and like I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get the white to go through the damn screen. And I was doing what every single beginner does at the time, and it's like, well, I guess I'll just add a bunch of reducer to this so it goes through easier, and just like doing the exact wrong.
And then your opacity goes way down.
Yeah. And just I don't know, doing stupid things like that at the start, and like I got pissed off. I'm like, hey, well, fuck this underbase idea then, and I'll just print colors. I'm like, well, that doesn't work, so now I'll go back to the white again and try and figure this out.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It took I was like the first few that I tried, like I was so stressed out because like it was not going well at all, and I was like, dude, I just spent like a serious amount of money on all this shit, and like I'm hating life right now.
Yeah.
I was freaking out. Like I had to walk away from it for like a week. I didn't even go downstairs. It was like, no, this isn't happening.
I feel like it could be like anything though that you learn like that, like probably doing stunts on a bike, or like fucking playing guitar or something like that, where you first start and you're like, oh, I can figure this out, and you fucking blow at it. And then you just do it over and over again, and then you eventually it's kind of weird for me, like when I hire somebody new to like run the auto or whatever, I literally have to give them like 2-3 months before I'm comfortable with them like running things on their own.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, is like they come to me, like they'll print a job that they're kind of by themselves, or they have somebody with their pull them, and they'll mess the job up, and you can tell they're like a dog with their tail between their legs coming in the office, like like, oh, I fucked this up or whatever, and I'm like, dude, like it sucks that you messed it up. Like it's not the end of the world, because we can fix it, and we're usually ahead on the schedule, where like I can really reorder it, get it out still on time. But like, I always tell them, like, dude, I'm kind of glad you did this, honestly, because now you know not to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, add a flash here. They think of it, they're like, oh, well, I could probably do this, wet on wet this many times. And then when the job's done or comes back around, they're like, man, this doesn't look good. And then the job just gets rejected. I'd rather them fuck up a bunch of times and then know the hard way. Like, it's easier for me to, like, for them to screw something up and me to pay for it than it is for me to just go out and tell them, like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Because they're not going to retain any of it. They're going to be like, okay, sounds good. And then they're going to go right back to printing the way they want to print. But when they screw up like $500 order or whatever or more, and then I have to replace it, they're instantly like shamed for life, that they're like, like I won't do that again. Like, we had a guy once too that put like a roll of packaging tape on a pallet and spun it and then like raised the press, and it went like right through the bottom of the flash, like all the bulbs. And it's like, dude, that dude's never gonna put tape on the pallets ever again. And it's like, that one sucked because that was expensive. But like, when they mess up shirts, it's kind of just like, dude, like, I mean, it is what it is. But now so I guess it's good with that. Did you have any other like YouTube channels that you specifically watched other than the Ryanet one?
Not really, no, because there wasn't really a bunch out at the time. Like, there was
I think the ones that were around when I first started was like the cat spit ones.
Yeah, he's been around since like the dawn of time.
I know. He made the first press out of a rock.
Yeah. His channel's been up for like 11 years or something. I went and looked one day.
Yeah.
It's been a while. So yeah, I saw some of his stuff. Mine wasn't meant to even be a print channel. I was just like, I'm just going to document what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
And just whatever, because I want to make videos, and that was it. And like, people latched onto it real fucking fast.
It's because there's really not a lot of good print content out there. I mean, there's the guys that have always been doing it, but you kind of get bored of that after a while. Where
it's kind of tough to watch. Like, I guess for me, because like I like seeing good filming and editing, because that's kind of my thing. It's tough to watch like a guy stand stationary in one spot and the camera never moves and there's really no edits. And you're just sitting there talking forever. It's just like, I can't do it, man. I'm out real quick. I need a little razzle dazzle.
Yeah. Some cat butts and stuff like you have.
Yeah. So I'm surprised he hasn't shown up in here yet.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's the good thing about your channel that a lot of people are going towards, is the fact that you're doing it, but you're also talking about all the shit that sucks too. You know what I mean? A lot of people make content like it's like the Instagram thing where it's just nothing but good vibes and good photos, like one after another after another.
That's kind of like the most common thing I hear about my stuff, like feedback, why people like it, is like that I show me fucking up.
Yeah.
Really. Like, I don't edit stuff out. If I do something wrong, I show it, try to correct it, whatever it is. And I just try to keep it as real as possible. Cause like you said, like everything's so fake and everything's so perfect all the time. And I hate that shit. Like, I stay as away from any of that stuff on social media. As soon as I start sniffing any of that, I just like unfollow instantly.
Well, you got to think too, like when you first started printing, you got to think, if you were watching a guy like you and you saw basically that you bought all this stuff, you started printing. If you only showed the good stuff, you're like, yeah, I'm fucking printing, everything's perfect all the time. Like the kid who's trying to do what you were doing is going to be so discouraged, because he's going to be like, how can he get this right all the time? And I'm like screwing this up horribly.
Yeah. I've never actually thought about that. That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like, if you watch all these, I mean, even the Ryanet ones, it's kind of like, this is how you do it. But they're obviously they're trying to sell equipment. They're not screwing up 100%. On press or
and I
anything
felt
like that.
I felt that exact feeling. Like that, you say that, it's kind of crazy, because like I watched a bunch of videos of people just knocking out prints and like, this is how you do this. It looks super easy, and then I do it for the first time and it's not even close.
You want to smash your head through the wall.
I'm just freaking out, sitting there for 3 hours trying to register the easiest 2-color print in the world, and it's not even close. I'm just fucking kicking shit across the room.
Yeah. And that, like I said, I feel like that's honestly why, like when we started that Rogue Printers group, I feel like that's why so many people went toward it, because they know that you're kind of doing the same thing, and that you will tell them like, hey, I tried this and it sucks and I messed up, and then tell them what you did when you figured it out. See, that's the thing with a lot of these people is I feel like they want to hear how you fucked up. They don't want to hear all your success stories all the time. Like, oh, I use this ink, it's perfect. They can hear that and be like, okay, I'll try that ink. But they want to hear, what they really want to hear is the 5 inks you tried before that, where you were just like, this one doesn't fucking work. This one, looks like a fruit roll up when it's printed. It's kind of like, I feel like that's definitely what people want to hear. So
yeah, and plus, like when you do it the other way too, you just end up kind of sounding like a salesman almost.
Yeah,
like it's just it's this easy, it's this perfect all the time. It's just like, that's not the way shit works. So
I feel like with the industry, there's so many things all the time that are coming out that, like I said, you're constantly learning. There's no printer out there that's just like the perfect printer that has everything nailed down. It's just everybody's constantly trying to figure shit out, and now the whole industry's switching to, not switching, but like bringing in digital more, and that's gonna be a whole nother fucking can of worms where
100%
everybody's gonna have to figure that shit out.
Definitely, because like it seems like that is going pretty quickly. Like it's still not at the level like where good screen print's at, but give it another 5 years and we're all gonna have to kind of change the way we do things.
Yeah. Like I said this in the last podcast, but it was kind of like, that's the reason why I bought the new press that I bought. So I kind of future-proof myself. Like if in like 3, 4, or 5 years, I want to buy that digital squeegee, it'll just go right on that press.
That's super smart.
So I'm not really a huge digital fan, but I've seen a lot of like digital squeegee kind of stuff. And like I said, the impressive part is the fact that it's a hybrid. So like you're still printing the underbase. That's the hard part, is you're printing the underbase the way it needs to be printed. And then all the colors on top. It's the same with a screen print. Like you're not putting down super thick inks on top. Like we'll use a lower mesh for the underbase, and then you'll use like a real high mesh for all the colors on top, because you just want them to be opaque but thin. So I feel like that's the same thing a digital printer is doing, is it's just laying down thin inks on top. So,
and plus you're not dicking around with all that pre-treat stuff
exactly. You're just printing all the underbases the same, and then you're just going to digitally print everything on top. The cool part is, it's crazy, is that you can change literally print to print to print. Like every shirt can be different design as long as the underbase is the same.
Oh yeah,
which blows my mind. So if you had like a helmet, like just a picture of like a white like football helmet or whatever, you could literally do 100 shirts with 100 different teams, different helmets, like one right after another. As long as it's programmed in the computer, you can do like tons of different stuff. So that's where it's huge for like these sites like Fanatics and stuff, where they're just doing like sports teams and all that stuff. They can just crank out the same shit all day long.
That's super smart. Yeah, I was real close to making that mistake when I started. I was like, well, I can buy all this stuff and retrofit my whole fucking house to make it work, or I can just buy this little machine that sits on my desk and I can print shirts with that. And I was real close to doing something that I'm so happy I didn't make that move.
And I feel like you feel the same way. Like I don't want to just push prints out for the sake of pushing prints out and saying that we did this many pieces a day. I'd rather be like, I want to do this as quality as possible, so that that customer and that company feels comfortable to come with us with anything that they have. So I don't know. We'll see how that whole thing goes. But how does, I guess, your location in Canada affect your business at all? Are you trying to do all online sales, or are you trying to focus on local stuff?
Yeah, like for the most part, all of my stuff is non-local. It seems, because of the channel, which has like been a really awesome accidental byproduct of it.
Yeah.
I didn't have any idea it would have that impact, but it sure as hell did. Like most of my stuff, I'd say 90% of the stuff is non-local. It's all coming in from like the US and across Canada, which is awesome. We're not really doing a whole lot of local stuff right now. I do want to start really pushing towards it once I move into a new space and stuff, because right now I don't really, it's in my house, so I don't want people
showing up.
Yeah, I really don't want that. So I'm not really pushing for it right now. But once we're in a proper spot, then it's going to be a whole different deal. Like I really want to start pushing local and as well as the online thing.
What niche do you feel like you guys are falling into? A lot of the like motorcycle stuff, and
we're like clothing brands. It seems that's like the bread and butter. Because I've got Dan on board with his killer design skills. Everyone sees like my stuff that I put out personally, and they're like, well, can you design stuff like that for me? Basically.
Right. They just want to kind of do something along the same vein.
Yeah. So that's kind of our main audience is like clothing brands or people starting clothing brands. Do a fair bit of motorcycle stuff too, but it's mostly people starting up clothing brands. It keeps me doing different stuff. Like instead of doing those like long 500 piece orders of the same shirt all the time, it's
Yeah.
more shorter run, like 50 pieces of this design, 50 pieces of this design and stuff, and just putting like collections together, which is like a whole lot more work, obviously, but it's so much more fun.
Yeah. Well, it's nice too to be able to give your customers like the expertise of like, because you obviously done the research about how to make a successful clothing brand yourself. So when you have a clothing brand that's kind of
you would think that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But then you have that eye for them to be like, they could send you even a tag design or something, and you're gonna be like, this isn't gonna come out good.
Yeah.
Like we get
That's
people
kind
like
of
that give us a design, and they're like, yeah, I want this print to be black on a white shirt for a tag, and I'm like, no, you don't.
yeah, no, you don't. Yeah, like that's one cool little bit of experience I got from my riding career because I was always around like clothing brands and gear brands and that kind of stuff. Because like in the snowmobile side, especially, like I was at like kind of the pinnacle of the sport, so we're all access to everything. So I got to see a lot of like the ins and outs of like how a lot of these companies operate and how they design and how stuff was made, and that stuck with me because I was like, man, this is the coolest shit ever. Like one day I want to do this, and it took like I don't know 12 years to actually do it, but afterwards I retained that information, thankfully.
So we talked a little bit about how we started that Rogue Printers group. Do you feel like that's going good for all the people that are in it, or do you feel like
Absolutely, that thing is doing so good, man. It's so cool to see. Like it's growing ridiculously fast. It seems like it's at what, like 2,200 people now or something like that, which is pretty cool. And there's no bullshit in it. People are following the rules, which is fantastic, unlike every other print group in the world. So that's awesome. Like,
and the ones that aren't following the rules are getting kicked pretty quickly.
Yeah, like I'm on there every day. I like kind of watch for, I go on there and answer posts and stuff, and I kind of just keep an eye out for stuff that we don't want to have in there, or like some of the members are actually pretty awesome about reporting that stuff. I'm sure you've seen some of them get reported, and like right away I'm just like, oh yeah, this guy's a dickhead, he's out of here. So yeah,
I always look forward to those texts from you about like, did you see this guy, should we kick him? And it's always like that fucking gladiator, like thumbs down, like there's never, has it even happened yet where we've had a thumbs up where we're like, let's give him another chance? It's always just like, nah.
There was one I gave a second chance so far, and he's on thin ice, I'll say that. It was because now we're getting people coming in there and advertising. We had a conversation about that, and I was like, dude, I don't want that in here. That sucks. Like, that's not what this is for. This is for people to learn how to print, solve their problems and stuff. It's not a place for you to push your shit. Like, I don't push it's like, we started this group, we don't push our business in there. I have a million things I could sell to those people in the group, and I'm not going to do it because I'm not a dickhead. Like, I'll do that on my own. I'll do it on my own time. Like if they want to ask me about it, they want to do it on their own time. Like, right on. But I'm not going to use that as like an advertising tool. It's meant to help printers, and that's what what I want to keep it as.
Well, it's like when we were first talking about it, it's kind of, we were experiencing the same thing. Is like all these other Facebook groups. There's a lot of them. There's a ton of people in there trying to put out good information, but there's so many bad eggs in there that they just want to bitch and moan about everything.
Yeah, like they just want to shit on everyone's parade, it seems like.
Right. Well, if anybody's coming up and they legit don't know the answer to something and they ask. Yeah. Like I feel like they get
get berated, it seems. Like they just get annihilated by some of these guys. It's the worst.
Right.
And it's like, why? What's the sense in that? Like clearly this person's just starting out. Like, yeah, you may have heard this question a million times. Like we all hear the exact same questions, but like you have a choice. You can be a fucking asshole, or you can just like help them out. It's pretty easy.
Well, it's like I asked something a while ago, and it was like, I think it was like one of the last things I asked on one of the bigger print groups there was, I was wondering what people were using for the sandpaper wheels that go on like a squeegee sharpener, like an auto squeegee sharpener or whatever. And I got probably like 15 answers that were all just dickhead answers that had nothing to do with anything that I wanted to know. And then like Mark Coudray was the one who like popped in like 16 comments down and was like, this grit. That's like all I was looking for was that one answer. And I got like so many other bullshit answers. It's like, oh, why don't you, people are like, oh, you should use so-and-so's white prints because his feel like sandpaper. And I was just like, dude, just fucking give me the answer, please. Like, I don't want to sit here and fuck around with this all day long.
You should see what happened to me in a lot of those groups, because like I catch a lot of fucking hate just because of the YouTube channel thing.
I know,
like,
which is ridiculous.
It's crazy. Like all the old guard just seems to just like, I don't know, I'm a magnet for them, which is hilarious because that just like, it makes me happy seeing how pissed off it makes them.
Well, it scares them.
It does, really, because like I guess, I don't know, doing something different. I'm giving out information that they're probably trying to sell maybe, or like, because there's a million consultants, it seems, in the print industry. I'm just like, fuck off.
Well, there's these guys too that just think that, I mean, I get it because I've been around for a while. I get that like you learn some things and you want them to be secret because you feel like if you tell everybody your secrets, then you're just as good as the other guy. And
absolutely.
I get that to a point, but like I said, there's so many, it's way more to me of an art form than it is a technical skill.
It really, like, I'm sure we all have stuff like little things that we're going to keep to ourselves forever because we don't want to let like the competition have all our secrets. But I mean, like most of the time it's the fundamentals that people are asking about. Right.
And that's the shit that me and you tell other people 9 times out of 10 is the shit they can find if they just did a quick Google search. Like actually, like I know they could do a Google search and find 10 different people saying 10 different things, and they might have to try those 10 different things. But to us, it's easier for us to tell them, hey, it's number 8. Like we tried those other things. Do this one helps. And then they get to the next level. It's not like they're going to go out and steal all your fucking customers. Like they need to learn how to print first the hard way. And then they whole nother side of the business is customer service and like actually having the drive to be able to sell shirts to a customer. So it's like nobody's giving in any of these groups, nobody's giving like sales advice. They're giving print technique advice on like, use this emulsion, or, hey, maybe don't fucking expose your screens in the sun. Like, I know people say you can do that, but maybe not. Like,
just maybe don't do that.
Maybe don't do that. Like, spend a couple $100 on an exposure unit. It's shit like that. We're just trying to like keep these people from being kicked in the dick repeatedly.
If your work is good, your salesmanship's good, your customer service is good, you're not going to lose anybody because a guy down the street started printing, that you gave advice to.
Yeah.
So, one thing like I guess because of that is people see like how much I give a shit about what I'm making.
Right.
I think I don't have to really like put on the salesman hat and like convince people to want to buy stuff. Really, people like come to me and they're like, it looks like you really like care about what you do. And I'm like, well, yeah, because like I'm just an OCD, meticulous, crazy person.
I know.
So,
and like one thing I see you do that I can't wait for you to get an auto for is like the Stampinator or the hothead. Oh, so you don't have to heat press all the shirts.
That's day one as that thing's going in there. Like I cannot wait for that.
Dude, the hothead is amazing. Like that changed quality from like here to here. Cause like with shirts, just shirts in general with like a bigger print area that have more ink, or just hoodies for everything. Any fleece, like all fibrillation kind of goes out the window if you use it correctly and you use it for every job that you have those issues with. It's fucking game changer because you're not losing a print head either, because it goes right after the flash, like where a cooldown would be. Right. So you're not losing anything. It's it's relatively inexpensive to get, and every print has that consistency.
Yeah, man, I cannot wait to have something like that in the mix, because that's just going to step it up so much more. I know, like I want that picture perfect, just retail level quality all the time, which is which is what we're putting out a lot of time, but like manually I have to take a lot of extra steps to do that. It's a big fucking time waster, but I mean, people are really happy with what they get. So at the end of the day, that's what really matters.
Well, if you do that stuff enough, then you're going to have enough customers that are going to give you the money to buy the equipment and grow faster than you would have anyway. So
yeah, I mean, we're ready to do it. It's just space right now is the issue. Like, I've been all over the map with that. That's a whole story in itself. It's kind of insane, but what
are you leaning toward right now? I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but
like, I don't know, I was going to leave it for a surprise on my channel, whatever. I'll talk about it.
Just whisper it. People won't understand it. You whisper it.
Like we're going to move into commercial space, and like, I just don't like the idea of a lease. I really don't. I hate it.
I don't blame you.
It's the worst. Like I wanted to buy commercial property was my first thought. And I don't know if it's like this where you are, but up here, apparently, you need like a 40% down payment to buy commercial property. It's ridiculous. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. You need 6% for a house, but you need 40% for fucking commercial property.
Well, I feel like that's the same with anything with a business. Like you could get fucking internet for your house for like $35 and you get the exact same internet service for a commercial space and it's like $135.
Yeah.
It's like
so
no fucking different. They just know that you're a business. They can squeeze it out of you.
Yeah. So like any decent sized commercial space that you would need that can fit like an auto and like a 30-foot dryer in, like you're looking at 800 grand to $1 million guaranteed. So
Yeah,
like I don't have $300,000 to put down on something or $400,000. No. That's crazy.
I think this is kind of a long answer, but the thing that I kind of got lucky with, especially with this whole Corona thing, is the fact that, and I never planned this, it just kind of like happened over my career, I guess, was when we initially got the building I'm in. I was only looking to rent a part of it, and then the guy, it was like I said, long thing of circumstances where the guy that was there wanted to retire, he wanted to get away. The building was an old train station agway, so there was
your building is cool.
Yeah, so like the problem is like on the other end of my building is where the train would like pull up and like drop, like molasses into these fucking tanks and like all these other chemicals and shit that people use for like farming back in the day. So like technically the ground around that side of the building is like hazardous. So like the dude couldn't sell it through a bank because a bank would have to have somebody come in and like, do the assessment and like test things.
Oh yeah, they do an environmental test.
Yeah, so like it wouldn't have passed. So basically we had to do it the way we did it, where it was like a handshake deal, where he was just like, I want to sell this building. This is the price. And I told him, I was like, I was just looking to rent. And then like a week went by and he came back to me with a price that was like way lower. And I was like, fuck it, let's do it. So I ended up buying the building and I own it. So like the whole Corona thing happened. A lot of shops that are kind of my size are having issues because they have to pay that like $3,000-$4,000 a month rent payment. And then they have
even more.
Yeah. It depends on depends on the area. I mean, where I'm at, it would have only been around there, but so anyway, like I own the building outright. Like I don't owe anything. It's paid for.
That's sick.
And all my equipment's paid for. So like when this whole thing happened, yeah, it sucks to let your employees go if you have to do that. Like that just sucks all around. But realistically, me as the company, like I could just shut down, tell my employees to go home if I wanted to, and I would be totally fine forever because realistically, the only thing I have to pay is the gas and electric bill, and that's like $800.
Yeah.
So like
that's
I can,
awesome.
yeah, like I could leave the building open as long as I wanted, but I more just want to like be working all the time. So like we stayed open, we filled out all the papers to stay open. So I feel like I'm not saying there's going to be a pandemic every other year that you would need to worry about, but if you find something you can buy and you can afford, even if it's like the building when I bought it was a huge piece of shit, like electric super sketchy, like nothing was built out the way I wanted it, but we dealt with it. You know what I mean? Like when we first moved in, we had desks in the dark room where it is now. So it was like kind of shady just being in like a weird dark room. But eventually like every year, you fix up a room or you remodel and whatever. So now we're at a point where like our whole shop's basically brand new. Like the office is all done and now we're building new offices. And I think just buying something that you can afford and then building it out in the long run with your cash flow is way better than going out and trying to buy some or rent some huge, space. But like I said, I fell into that. So I can't say that that's what everybody should do, but yeah, I guess it depends if you want to do the local thing or you want to do the online thing, because all of our, like 99% of what we do is all online.
Yeah.
So I can be anywhere. I could be on a fucking mountaintop in the, in the woods somewhere and it wouldn't matter as long as a UPS truck can get there.
That's where I'm at now. Like after I realized I can't buy commercial space, I was about to lease something.
Mm-hmm.
And because like I wanted that, like, that curbside appeal, like the cool sign out front. I wanted to have like a cool looking thing because that's, I don't know, it's just kind of stuff I'm into. Like you've seen the shop that I built in my house. Like it's ridiculous for a home print shop. I went ape shit on this thing.
Yeah.
I wanted it to look cool and not just be
that's one of the things is like me being a printer was one of the things that probably pissed a shitload of like the experienced printers out was how clean it was at first.
Yeah. And I talked some serious shit about it too.
You did. That's the thing, is so many people were like, fuck this guy. There's no way he's keeping that shit spotless.
Yeah, it's still pretty good. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff going on. Like, there's a big burn mark on the floor from where I set the shirt on fire, and like a few other things, but it's still clean. Like, you can touch every surface in there, and you're not going to get ink on you.
Yeah, the first time you scrub water-based pallets and then you get little fuzz balls all over the floor is when that place stopped being clean.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, there's the area around the press I clean like once every month or so. Like, I'll get down to my hands and knees with friggin' press wash and get all glue off the ground and shit and make it all sparkly new again. But yeah, it's tough to keep that part clean. But for the most part, it's super clean. But anyways, yeah, I wanted that cool curbside appeal for a building, so I was going to lease something, but the lease was like going to be like $4,000 a month for like 2,800 square feet. It was ridiculous. Yeah, and like 2,800 square feet, like, you know, it's enough for what I'd have, but like if we grew at the rate we're growing, we'll be out of there within a year again, which is dumb. And I'd not be committed to like a 2, 3, even 5-year lease on this thing. Yeah. So
see, the hard part is too with our industry is it'd be one thing if it was like busy like it is in the summer all year round. But the problem is you get into like the, you know, end of November to basically mid to end of February, when it's kind of like you do enough jobs to keep the lights on and keep people paid, but you're not making shit.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have $4,000 extra dollars sitting around every month to pay rent alone, not including any utilities or anything. So,
well, and like, I got to think of too, like I've got a mortgage as well, like on top of that. So I got other shit I got to pay for. So now it was like just a realization that, yeah, we're not doing any local business right now. Like, sure, we'll get it, but right now, like, who cares? Like, let's just keep it the way it is. We're growing. We need the space. Like, I'm busting at the seams right now. I'm ready to pull the trigger on like 3-4 different pieces of equipment like yesterday, but I can't put them anywhere.
Right.
So,
and that's one thing that we did too, is like, we're relatively close to some bigger cities. And like I said, because of the fact that we're not curbside, the one thing that we offer is we just offer like free delivery.
Yeah.
So even if you want to do those local people and you want to have that, you know, recognition in town, you can still promote a shitload in that town, but then you just buy a fucking van and then you deliver the orders.
Yeah. So after I thought about it for a while, I was like, I can literally move my whole operation, move my house, move my whole life into a new house, like 10, 15 minutes outside of our city, which is super close. People will still drive there for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's about where we are.
I can, like, you know, within a 10 to 15 minute range of this city, I can buy like a 20-acre piece of land that's got a house on it, and I can build whatever shop that I please. Like, that's a way better idea. So that's, I guess, the next evolution in my home print shop is going to be stepping up to a new home and building just the most ridiculous home print shop I guess you could possibly do, and do it with a brand new building on the property. So that's kind of what we're planning on right now. It's actually like in motion right now. We've been looking for houses for like the last week.
Yeah, I just did a podcast last week with my buddy Jonathan, who owns a Success Print Shop, and he made his shop out of shipping containers.
That's sick.
Yeah. So he was like, yeah, you just buy like a, you know, a $25 shipping, or $2,500 shipping container. And then you can just fucking do whatever you want. You can stack them together, and you have the welding capabilities. You could just fucking weld a shitload of containers together.
Oh yeah. I'm just stoked because now I'm like thinking, like, if I've got 10 to 20 acres, like I've got the shop to think about, but at the same time, I'm thinking about my lunch breaks. So I'm gonna have a dirt bike track out back and fucking like all this other awesome stuff. So like, if I get pissed off in the middle of the day, I can go moto and like.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So, one thing for real though, you should think about is if you do decide to go the country route of building a shop, is find out where the closest pole is that has 3-phase power.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 3-phase is literally the first.
Because if you don't, if you could buy this place and be like, yeah, this is perfect, and then find out it's like 35 poles that way. And it's like, I don't know, it's like $1,500 or so a pole to get like from pole to pole to pole, just running the wire. That's not like hooking the service up. Because we did that. Luckily, we were only like 2 poles away, so it wasn't that big a deal. But
yeah, like luckily, the area that I'm looking at is all like bigger houses and stuff like that with like serious power demands, like big, like 300 amp services in them and stuff. So like that service area is all just jacked with power.
Yeah,
like
that's good.
In one of the areas I'm looking, it's like literally just like old rich white people in there, and there's a country club nearby and shit. So like if I move to that area, it's gonna be so funny, like how much I'm not gonna fit in.
Just fucking ripping bikes up and down the road.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna just be hated by everybody. It'd be awesome.
Just put up a privacy fence. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Want like a 4-footer, where it's like I tried.
Yeah. Oh man, it's that's like my dream place to live too. So like one of the ones I'm looking at right now, I'm just like I've been thinking about it nonstop. I've been losing sleep hoping that I get this thing because I'll die in that place. It'll be amazing.
Yeah.
There's some like I found like a perfect place, like awesome, let's make an offer right now. And then we talked to the municipality about it, and like, yeah, the biggest building you can build on here is 1,200 square feet on a 13-acre property. I was like, what sense does that make? That's crazy.
What you need to do is make a shitload of really good cookies and give them to the code guy.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, like I don't know how it works down there. I guess like it'd be like counties down there. So
yeah.
Like the RM is rural municipality, it's called. So
I don't mean cookies. You need to make poutine.
Oh yeah. Oh, weed's legal up here. I'll make them some legit cookies.
There you go. That's what they're called up there, is actually legit cookies, because it's not illegal.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's so many stupid rules, but there's like, it's like a board of people that decide what you can do, essentially.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just funny because like it's the same thing. It's like you're trying to actually be a person who's like building a company. You know, you're investing your own money into these buildings and doing all these things to grow your business and employ more people. And I feel like they make it so hard for those people that are trying to do shit. But there could be a guy who just wants to sit on his front porch in his SpongeBob sweatpants, and he gets fucking free ride to do anything he wants to do.
Yep, that's the way it goes.
So it's awesome. I don't want to get on that fucking soapbox.
We'll be in here forever.
Let's just shut it down. Shut it down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude.
So yeah, well, I guess I wish you the best in fucking figuring that out, I guess.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be cool. Hopefully, well, either way, something's happening within the next couple months. Like I cannot be here any longer.
Yeah, especially like when summer hits, that's like, busy season. You're gonna be feeling it for sure.
Yeah, so it's like I've got more than me to think about. I've got employees and stuff. Like we got to do this. We got to grow, and I cannot do it anymore where I'm at. So it's going to be happening one way or another. Even if I have to settle on something and make a decision, that's what I got to do. So
yeah. If you had to kind of do it all over again, would you change anything as far as like what you bought and everything?
Yeah, probably. I'd probably invest more. Definitely. Like I would have probably got a little bit better stuff. I wish I would have gotten like the next level up press than I have now, which they don't make anymore, which was like the Riley 500 or something.
Yeah. Well, you ended up upgrading your current one with all the side clamps and stuff.
Yeah, I added side clamps to it, which helped out a lot. I just wish I would have had the 500 because it comes with the same pallets as the auto and like the oversized pallets as well too. So right now I'm limited. I've got a 16 by 18 pallet. So like print size is limited to under that. Right. So that's part kind of sucks because like I would like to do like those big stretch and huge long back prints and stuff like that, but I gotta kind of keep them like at like 17 inches tops, and that really annoys me. So
well, you're running aluminum pallets now, right?
I have been. It comes with those things from stock. So but yeah, that's the really only annoying part to me that I wish I would have done right out of the gate, because now knowing if I'm going to be going to an auto at some point, I need to get all new screens and all this other shit, and I would have been a little more prepared.
Yeah.
So that's really the only thing. Other than that, everything's been pretty awesome.
Yeah. Who do you kind of look at on like social media and stuff that's like the most inspiring for you to kind of grow to at this point?
Well, not to fucking pump your tires, but you for sure.
Well, obviously. I mean, who else though?
No, seriously. I followed you for like probably like almost a year before I started printing. I was following your shop, so that was cool. Like I saw you follow me back. I was like, oh shit, that's cool. And then you messaged me. I was like, whoa, crazy. But
well, I saw that video of your fucking shiny ass floors, and I was like, I gotta see what this asshole's about.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, that's super awesome. I've been following you forever, because like you guys are always cranking out those like super cool designs and shit all the time, and like that's what I want to see. That shit's awesome. So yeah, like your stuff for sure. I'm not sure who else. Like there's quite a bit of shops that I follow at this point now. I think I've completely changed my whole Instagram following situation. It was like all bikes and bike companies, bike people, and it's like unfollowed all of them, and now it's like slowly all
print shops. Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. Like I do follow a few things that are usually like fucking alien or Sasquatch related and bike stuff, but I follow, as of right now, I'm following 1,600, a little over 1,600 people. Probably like the 12 people that are 1,612, the 12 people are not screen printers. The other 1,600 are probably all fucking print shops.
Yeah. I've kind of like all my stuff is migrated towards print stuff, and I've got like 3 different accounts too. So like I don't follow the same shit on every single one. So yeah, I got a pretty big selection of stuff to go through. But yeah, yours was definitely one. Who else was one? There's a place in Australia called like Killer Merch or something.
Yeah.
They're a strictly manual shop, but their shop was like super cool, like just the way everything looked.
I think they just got a new building too, didn't they? Where they did that big mural out front.
Yeah, that thing is sick as hell. It's all blacked out, the whole building.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
That's badass. As soon as I saw those guys, like, yeah, these are my kind of people.
Yeah. The funny thing is, there's like I think there's like 4 Killer Merches.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. There's one in California too. But yeah, that's one thing like with this podcast is like I kind of want to just, kind of show the real shit that we all deal with print shops and creatives and, anybody who's kind of like that. And that's the same for me. Like with Instagram, it's huge. Like Instagram has been like the best thing ever for me, because there's so many people that you could talk to, and like you, like I never would have met you if it wasn't for Instagram, and like all these other people. And it's nice because we can all talk and bounce shit off each other. So I just like to ask people, like, who is it that you find inspiration and stuff from? But yeah, there's like there's too many for me to even rattle off. But
yeah, definitely. Another one is your first Grizzly Wheeler shop there. That place, they're cranking out sick shit. And I followed them.
Josh is a good buddy of mine. We play Xbox and stuff together, but he fucking called my shop the other day. I was in the dark room burning screens, and Sarah, the front desk girl, comes in. She's like, the IRS is on the phone. They said it sounds really important, like you're probably in trouble. And I was like, my first thought was, I've been in trouble with the IRS before, like I could figure this out. But I'm kind of like sweating it, like, oh fuck, what did I do now? So I go pick up the phone, and it's fucking Josh immediately starts laughing as soon as I get the phone to my ear. I was like, you fucking dick. But he like had her convinced that he was like an IRS agent, like looking for me, like hunting me down. And I was just like, God damn it, Josh.
That's awesome. Yeah, that episode was good for your first podcast too. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is I've been wanting to do it. And then I was talking to him, I think probably like 2 a.m. or something one night. And I was like, hey, do you want to just like do this with me tomorrow? He's like, yeah, sure. And then the funny thing was I always text everybody beforehand. Like I texted you or whatever. And I said, like, try to like use a decent mic, like find some good lighting or whatever. And he fucking like agrees to be on the Zoom chat or whatever. And he hits open, and he's sitting in his like junk room. There's literally like a fucking half used old mattress behind him. His lighting is all on the back of his head. He's just a good dude. He's just a good time. He's funny. I really like dealing with Josh, but he's super good at what he does though. Like he's like us, where he's super passionate on like making sure everything that leaves his shop is top quality. And he's a strictly water-based guy too. So like if you ever have questions about water-based stuff, he's the guy to talk to.
Yeah, I've never reached out to him or anything. I think I've been following his shop for a couple of years now, like way before I started printing. Because again, like it was the same deal. I looked at what he was doing and was just like, man, they're doing some awesome stuff there.
Yeah.
And I noticed they work with Lincoln a lot. And like again, that's like one of the people that we're following and watching what they're doing all the time, because we do so much design work as well. Yeah. And they're the top dogs in that field. It seems like it's so. You'd be stupid not to watch them.
Yeah, like the people like Lincoln, and there's a bunch. Like if you end up going down that rabbit hole which I have been, is like there's a lot of really top-notch designers out there that are like them, trying to do really good portfolios and working with really good stuff. And it shows a lot. Like I said, if you are a guy like Josh, where you're doing Lincoln and all these other people, it's like that's scary as a printer to go to these people that you look up to so much in the design industry and have them be the people that you go to. You know what I mean? Like, and to be like, oh yeah, every job has to be fucking perfect, because if it's not, you're not working with those people.
No, exactly. I'd
So
shit myself if someone like that approached me to print. Like, I'd be.
I know you'd fucking scrutinize every print of
Oh,
like.
I would be sitting there with the fucking loop, looking at every single detail for like an hour.
You'd call him and be like, "What size are you?" And he's like, "I'm a large." You're like, "Okay." So you just make sure every large shirt is perfect.
Yeah, like, oh, I'd be sweating that thing. I wouldn't sleep until it was done. But that's the way it goes. Like, those are the type of people you need to like benchmark, really.
Yeah.
And yeah, like they're a big one we watch. Obviously, like Aaron Draplin is a big inspiration to us around here. He's like a god in this place. Just super cool dude, and like just his style and stuff. I love the way he designs shit. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Which
actually like the simplistic stuff.
Yeah, like his Skillshare classes are what taught me how to use Adobe Illustrator a few years ago. Like,
oh really? Is that the one you did?
Yeah, like when I started at 38, I had no fucking experience in that whatsoever. I didn't know anything about what I was doing. So it's just like, I guess I'll try out the Skillshare thing and figure it out. Yeah, like I've got enough skills to kind of get me by. Like, I can make like decent little basic designs, like stuff that at least looks good and is okay. But like, I'm nowhere near at the level, say, like my designer Dan. Like, he's sick as hell. But like, I have so much desire to get at that level, but I just don't have the time because I'm printing so much and doing.
What's the thing is, you're going to be, you're going to be owner and manager of all that stuff. It's kind of like you get to a point where you're like, do I need to pick up all these skills, or do I delegate to people who already are like masters at that skill?
Yeah, like, I don't know. For me, it's more like I just want to have the skill, because like once I think I want something, like I will just stop at nothing until I figure it out and get good at it. Like I don't know. I'm just really competitive that way, I guess. Like, if there's something I think I would like to do, like I'll go nonstop until I get it. Basically, it's ridiculous. Even if it makes no difference in my life whatsoever. If I want to get fucking sick at hopscotch, I will sit out in the front yard for a month and get.
I love how that was the fucking first thing you thought of is hopscotch. Because I know, don't play it off like you weren't thinking about that shit before.
Oh yeah,
you were sitting on the couch the other day and you were like, "Fuck, I wish I was better at hopscotch."
Oh, I'll be hopping fucking circles around all those little girls down the street.
What was that? What was that toy that was popular when we were kids? It was what was it, Skip It or whatever, where you had to put it around your ankle.
I was thinking about the exact
and you
same
just
thing
did
too.
this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
You have one, don't you? You fucking.
I did. They had the counter in it too to see how many times you could do it. Remember that? They had the little counter. Oh, that's the best. Yeah.
I'm too fluffy to do that. I'd probably bust an ankle or something.
Oh yeah, just I don't know what it is. I guess like growing up racing my whole life or something. Like, I always want to just like be good at stuff. I don't know what it is.
At hopscotch.
Yeah, like literally anything. So
that's why you have that white square thing behind your head. It's your
artsy
hopscotch.
Yeah. So my looks like art on the wall, but it's secretly like my mood board getting ready for hopscotch season.
It's the extreme hopscotch. You have to get in each one of those little squares.
Oh yeah.
All right, dude. Well, it was fun. I appreciate you coming on and doing this with me.
Yeah, man.
But I'm always here to talk to if you want to fucking bullshit.
Hell yeah.